In Philippians 3, where it speaks about the stomach being the god of some people who have denied the way of the cross, the enemies of the cross are those whose God is their stomach, verse 19. Philippians 3, the enemies of the cross mentioned in verse 18, who don't want to follow Paul or his example of other godly men, and whose end is destruction. Their God is their stomach. And the other thing is their mind is set on earthly things, primarily money. God has given us money to use. And I believe it's a test. He tested many people through money. Judas Iscariot failed the test through money. He didn't fall into sexual sin. It was money that made Judas, a betrayer. It's a great warning. The one disciple out of 12 fell away because of money. There was a love for money there. Imagine, you can sit and listen to the most powerful message that Jesus preached for 3.5 years, and he still loved money. And you can sit here and listen to powerful messages, and in your heart, you can love, you set your mind on earthly things. In other words, you don't use money, your mind is set on it, set on it. There's nothing wrong in using money. There's nothing wrong in having a lot of money. If God gave it to you and it's all earned righteously. If all the money you have earned is righteously earned, not because you cheated the government or cheated other people or cheated in business or anything, it's all righteously earned. And if God decided to make you rich, well, he made Abraham rich, who was such a godly man that God called himself the God of Abraham. Was Abraham a poor beggar? No. Abraham was one of the wealthiest people of his time. And God calls himself the God of Abraham. Imagine if God put your name and said, I'm the God of so-and-so. Boy, what an honor. And in Job's time, he was the richest man in all the earth. He was a billionaire, and he was the most godly man that lived on earth at that time. So the Bible doesn't teach that if you have money, you can be ungodly. No. But one of the things Job said in his book was, I have not made gold my God. Just like you can make stomach your God, you can make money your God. Where you worship it. Like people worship food, they can worship money. And I want this, and bow down, what the idol says, do this, you do it. That's how many people live. This God says, I'll give you money if you do all these wrong things. And they do it, and they get it. So their mind is set on earthly things. You've heard me use the illustration of a rubber band. To me, that's the best illustration I've ever found. If you have a rubber band, a true Christian is one who's got his mind set. His mind is set on things above. But because he lives on earth and he's got to do hundreds of things on earth for many hours a day, he has to stretch that rubber band to the things of earth for 8 hours in his place of work, and maybe another 5-6 hours with a lot of jobs at home. But then, when all the work is done, the rubber band is released, goes back up to think about the things of heaven, the things of God, and things of God's Word, meditate on God's Word. That is a true Christian. But he's spending 14 hours a day thinking about earthly things. Nothing wrong in it. He has to work. He has to earn his living. A mother has got to take care of the children, has to cook the food. That's this rubber band stretched to earthly things for many hours a day. But when it's released, when it's all over, does the rubber band spring back to the things of heaven? What do you think about it? What do you think about when all your day's work is over? You lie down in bed, what do you think? Or when you're free from other things, you're just sitting and relaxing. Where is the rubber band? For many people, for the worldly people, it's the other way around. It's never stretched to heavenly things. But for Christians, many Christians, the rubber band is tied to the earthly things. And on Sunday morning, they'll stretch it for 2 hours to heavenly things, like and go to a church service and think about God. And hopefully nobody's thinking about money even now. But some people, even in church, they're thinking about that. But it's stretched there. And then the 2 hours service is over. Then back to money again, or earthly things. That's not the way God intended a disciple of Christ to live. You say, well, how will I survive? I'll tell you. If you seek God's kingdom first and His righteousness in everything, all that you need on earth will be added to you.